Whenever we're entering into a group meditation type of experience, there's two components of what we're doing. One thing is that we are showing up as much as possible for ourselves, looking at ourselves as honestly as possible and being as present as possible for ourselves. But then also we are holding space for everyone else in the room. So everything that we do, could any of you hear this?
Yes.
So in the course of a meditation, we can hear everything that's happening. So when we are going to do a couple little meditations, and so much of the practice is going to be allowing things that are distracting around us to be as they are, accepting them as they are, and maintaining our awareness on what we're doing in this moment. Okay? So there are 3 kinds of meditation that we're going to review in today's class, and they are universal. They're from all different cultures all over the world, and they are ancient. Different cultures have used them differently, have called them different things, and have used them for different purposes, but they are absolutely universal. And so what we're going to do in today's class is touch on what those 3 primary meditation techniques are, where they're from, how to use them, and then we're going to go into some of the deeper implications of some of the common themes and ideas that we hear in the study of these types of practices. Does that sound good? Okay. So, my name is Ben Decker. I live in Los Angeles, California. I'm a meditation teacher. I teach at a number of different studios in Los Angeles. This is my second time at Rhythmia. I love Rhythmia. When I was here in February, I was able to participate in all of the activities, including the plant medicine. And this workshop, throughout the course of this week, was built day by day to mirror and enhance the experience with the plant medicine. Okay? So the workshop this week, does anyone know what this week is called? Know Thyself. Thank you. Okay, someone read it. At least one person. Okay. So Know Thyself. The Greek aphorism, Know Thyself, was said to be written on the courtyard of the temple of Apollo. Apollo is known as the god of light, among many other things. So in the Greek tradition, knowing ourselves is associated with light. In all traditions, universally, we see when the light is on, right? So that has nothing to do with tradition, has nothing to do with culture. When the light is on in a room, we see. When the candle is lit in a dark room, we see what's happening in that room. In the Buddhist tradition, we think of enlightenment. We hear about enlightenment. Enlightenment is the total dissolution of all illusion. It's the total acknowledgement of only that which is actually real. So when we think of light, we know that in all of the ancient traditions, there is a resonance of being able to see, being able to understand, being able to be present to that which actually is. Anytime we find ourselves in a situation where there is any type of distraction or illusion or delusion, that's sometimes referred to as shadow, right? So in Carl Jung's work, the shadow was the part of our psyche that was unseen, the dark part of our psyche. And you're going to have to forgive me if I get distracted. I'm not used to people being able to come in and leave late and early. I'm normally super tight at the doors, as B can attest, yeah. Okay, so for this first component, for this first hour, we're going to be going over the 3 forms of meditation. Has anyone in here meditated before? Okay, most of you, great. What kinds of meditation have you experienced? Mantra? Mindfulness? What's TSM? I've never heard of that. Oh, Transcendental Meditation. Yeah, TM. So, what was that? Kabbalistic meditation. Beautiful. So, Vipassana meditation. Excellent. Anything else? Those are great. Those all fall under the 3 categories that we're working with. In fact, they incorporate Kabbalistic meditation, for example, incorporates these 3 techniques. So multiple traditions are practicing these. This is a clue, this is an esoteric clue about what is happening, what is the natural unfoldment of our mind, of our spirit, and of our body's relationship to those 2 things. So anytime we find that ancient cultures who were not in contact with one another all over the world doing the same thing, we find the natural unfoldment of something. There's something natural there. There's something that comes innate through that. Okay, so the first one that we're going to acknowledge and look into today is mantra meditation. Someone mentioned it. Transcendental meditation is an example of mantra meditation. Primordial sound meditation is an example of mantra meditation. And in Kabbalah, they use mantra meditation. Mantra means, there's a couple different ways to translate it. It means mind vehicle, mind instrument. It essentially serves as the meditation object. Okay, so who has used mantra before? And so let's hear it. What's a mantra? Jen, what's a mantra? So Om Shri Shri Ram is an example of a Sanskrit mantra.
The mantra I got from Amma, I forget right now.
Amma, okay. So you're both acknowledging a sacred word being used as a mantra. What's a mantra? What is a mantra? Not an example of a mantra. What is a mantra? So a mantra, being the meditation object, there's meditation with an object and there's meditation without an object. Meditation with an object, in the context of mantra, is a sacred word that is silently repeated in the mind. So in transcendental meditation, you go in and they give you they have their proprietary way of identifying the mantra that they'll assign to you. And they will assign a mantra in Sanskrit or Pali, and that will be a mantra that you will never say out loud, that you will never share with another person, and you'll silently repeat it in your mind. Anytime your mind wanders from that mantra, what do you do, B? Whenever the mind wanders from the mantra, you bring your awareness back to the mantra. Okay? So much of this practice is the practice of mantra is being able to cultivate actual attention, actual focus on something. And so, is there something? Okay. Oh, okay. So contextually speaking, when you would find yourself distracted by something, you would bring your awareness back to what you're actually doing. So in the context of a mantra, for example, a mantra could be Om. And if you're silently repeating the mantra Om in your mind, and you find that you're distracted by something else happening in the environment, you would notice that you've gone distracted, that you've gone rogue mentally, and you would bring your awareness back to the mantra, back to Om. And so sometimes we'll pair the mantra with the breath, so that you're, like, so hum is a beautiful mantra. Has anyone ever done I am? Yeah. I am, yeah, exactly. And so hum doesn't actually mean I am. But that's the closest thing that we can translate to mean I am, because it's actually the sound of the breath. So was created to remind us of the sound of the inhale, and hum was to remind us of the sound of the exhale. So hum. And so in the context of a mantra-based meditation, anytime there was any kind of thought entering into your mind that was not the mantra, you would simply return to it. And this is actually a really cool technique, because what it cultivates within your mind, within your constitution, is the ability to focus. The ability to choose to be focused even when you know something else is going on around you. Even when you hear that the dog is chewing up a toilet paper roll in the other room, being able to bring your awareness back to whatever it is that you're doing. Has anyone here ever been in traffic before? When you're going from point A to point B, if you're going to go, let's say, where do you guys live?
Yes, sir.
I heard. Where do you live, John? Miami. Let's say Miami. Any of those places could have worked. Let's say you're home in Miami and you schedule a spa appointment. You've got a massage later today and you are so excited about that massage and you have the whole day off and you've decided today is going to be a day of healing and relaxation and sort of culminating in that massage. You decide to meditate, maybe you take a bubble bath at home, you're preparing yourself for it, you're ready, maybe you go all out and get some essential oils and you're feeling good. You get into the car, you start driving to the spa. Maybe you left a little bit late because of all the essential oils and all of the prep for that massage. And maybe you're feeling like you really want to be on time for that massage. You're concerned. The receptionist on the phone told you, you won't get a full massage if you're late. There's an appointment right after you. It's a 90-minute massage. Congratulations, 90 minutes. That's a great massage. If you are 5 minutes late, that's going to be an 85-minute massage. And so if you are in the car driving to that massage and you start to experience the distracting thoughts of, oh my gosh, I'm late. Why are these people driving so slow? I'm late. You're on your way and someone cuts you off. What happens when someone cuts you off? You get angry, mad. So I can barely hear you guys. Let's hear it.
He flips them off.
You flip them off. Yeah, you honk the horn. You react. In short, you react somehow, right? And sometimes when we're not feeling super disciplined of mind, traffic can actually throw us really off our beam, right? Something as little as traffic. Jerry was speaking earlier today about a fight about who spends more time on the airplane, right? Not a very important fight. They're not talking about their fundamental views of the world or how to raise the children or anything like that. They're talking about something a little bit inconsequential, right? So when we're in traffic, it's actually kind of inconsequential, right? When someone cuts you off, if there's been no damage to anyone's car and everyone's okay, everything's fine, right? What can sometimes happen is we get thrown off and we get angry and it changes our entire energy. When our energy gets thrown off and we're no longer in Jenna's I'm so excited to go to the spa mode, we have an opportunity in that moment to become aware of our triggers. Anytime something comes in and provides enough contrast to throw us off our beam, it gives us an opportunity to become aware of something that's going on within ourselves. Okay? So what the mantra practice will actually help you cultivate is the ability to notice that that person just cut you off, but not actually get pissed off, not actually get triggered, not actually cuss them out, not actually tailgate them and whatever kind of road rage activities you want to engage in. The idea is that we are cultivating our ability to focus, to get back to our lives, to get back to what you're actually here for. Something funny that I thought Jerry said was when he said, oh, midweek you're going to be angry that the massage wasn't good enough and that they burnt the beans or whatever. What are you here for? Are you here for the beans? No, you're not. The beans are great. Shout out to Meg. The beans are great. The idea is when something throws us off, it is oftentimes inconsequential. The mantra, the purpose of these traditions, making the mantra a sacred word and making it sacred for you so that it will never be repeated to another person, is so that it is building the value of that special word, of that mantra, so that when your mind does wander, you go back to that very important thing, that very sacred, important place, that very important mission that you were already on. And so, when you're practicing mantra, does anyone practice transcendental meditation or mantra meditation? A couple of you? Have you noticed your ability to get back to your life when you're distracted?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So,
That was very weak, yes.
no, yeah, it worked. That communicated the message, definitely. And so in all these different traditions, there's at least that one component that we're practicing. We're practicing our ability to remain focused on something in spite of distractions. Another component of mantra, has anyone ever used an affirmation as a mantra? A lot of times we use the word mantra to mean affirmation. Someone recently said to me that they needed to change their mantra about food. And I was like, well, what's your mantra about food? And they went on to explain that they were aware, their own thoughts about food were, I can't eat in front of other people. I need to eat in private. People will judge me for what I'm eating. Those types of mantras will reinforce a negative belief. And so there's a kind of mantra where we don't know what the word means, and we give it a sacred meaning. And that offers deep importance for the mantra, so that in other parts of our lives we remember what is important, and when we find ourselves distracted from the mantra, when we find ourselves distracted from what we're actually doing in our lives, we bring our awareness back to what's important. We bring our awareness back to the mantra. When we are using an affirmation as a mantra, what's an example of an affirmation? I'm strong, I am. I am is a really beautiful one because that is the mantra of presence, being present. I'm here right now, and that is the ultimate guiding focus of all meditations, to show up in the moment that you're actually in. Being able to show up in the here and the now. We've all heard about being present. We've all heard of Ram Dass's mantra of be here now. The idea with that is, in this moment is the only moment you have any power. In the now is the only time you are strong and capable in any kind of way. Has anyone ever made a mistake? Okay, a couple of you. So have you been able to undo that which has already been done? We might be able to make restitution, we might be able to make amends, but we can't undo that which has already been done. We can't unring the bell, right? So often we focus on the mistakes that we have made in the past. We judge ourselves, we hate other people for the mistakes that they have made. How many people worry about the future? Where will I be? What am I becoming? How will I pay the bills? Will I die alone? How will I die? I have a friend who is going through breast cancer treatment right now. Such a bummer. So sad, so hard to watch, so hard to be there and see her. And she sometimes is worried about the future. She's worried about her daughter. All she can do right now is do everything she can do, right? All we can do right now is do everything that we can do. We can prepare for the future. Having the abstract part of our mind that can acknowledge and imagine and envision the future is powerful. That's an important part of our mind. But where we live needs to be in the present moment. Acknowledging the abstract of the future, remembering that which has taken place in the past. Regret is an important feeling. Regret is important. How else would we know to never freaking do that thing again, right? Experiencing what Marianne Williamson calls righteous regret. We don't want to be in the throes of regret and self-judgment. We want to acknowledge what we don't want to do again. We want to acknowledge what didn't work out for us. And so in this moment, we have this incredible power of remembering that which has taken place and allowing it to inform our decisions now. In this moment, we have this incredible power of envisioning the future, of seeing what's happening and imagining what will unfold from that which is happening. Have you ever seen someone who's about to drop something or they're about to trip? Have you ever seen a disaster about to happen? We can see into the future in certain ways, right? in this moment is the only moment that we can actually help intervene. And so the mantra meditation will help you bring your awareness back into this moment. It'll help you cultivate your ability to remain focused, and we're going to practice that right now before we get into the other two forms of meditation. Does anyone want to know what the other two kinds are before we do a quick meditation? Yes? The other two that we're going to address are meditation without an object, also known as mindfulness meditation, and visualization. There's a bunch of different ways to use visualization, and every tradition all over the entire world uses some form of visualization. And so for this meditation, we're going to do a brief meditation right now. The mantra is going to be So Hum. If you ever do any kind of meditation with Deepak Chopra, the Oprah Winfrey Deepak Chopra meditations, So Hum is a popular mantra that he likes to use. On our inhale, we are going to silently repeat the word so, and on our exhale, we're going to silently repeat the word hum, okay? It's a basic technique. It's the easiest technique. In the Vedic traditions, this is oftentimes referred to as Vedic meditation. In the Vedic traditions, this is also known as the householder's meditation. It's considered the easiest form of meditation, and the reason it's the householder's meditation is because someone who's working, someone who's busy, someone who's got stuff going on, needs something easy, needs an easy meditation to work with, and this is it, okay? So I invite you to take a moment to get into a comfortable position. The bolsters are great. They'll help prevent your legs from falling asleep. Pillows are great too. Sure. Sure, if you like, you can lay down. And so whenever you found your comfortable position, I invite you to close your eyes. And if you ever need to open your eyes, keep them in your own space. Staying in your own space. You can take a few deep breaths if you like. Noticing anywhere in the body where you might be holding any tension or rigidity. And allowing the exhale to gently release any of that tension, any of that tightness, any of that rigidity. Allowing everything to be as it is. And on your inhale, allow the word so to pair with the entire inhale. And the word hum to pair with the entire exhale, not necessarily controlling the breath in any way. So hum. Allowing your ears to hear all the different sounds in all directions around you. allowing your body to feel all the different sensations it's feeling. Always coming back to the mantra. Noticing the different thoughts that come to mind. Always coming back to the mantra. Disengaging from any tension held anywhere in the body. Allowing everything to be as it is. So hum. Noticing all of the subtle movements within your own body. Now gently blink your eyes open and return to the group. Most of you laid down, so go ahead and sit back up. So in mantra meditation, we give ourselves a reference point. That reference point is the mantra. Anytime we are moving our body, thinking a thought, distracted by a sound, we are taken off of that reference point. We're taken off of that 0 point. And the idea is to bring our awareness back into that mantra. Anytime, so many people will say, oh, my mind was wandering that whole time. I'm such a bad meditator. And the reality is, there's not really a good meditator or a bad meditator. There's a good meditation. There's a less relaxing meditation, But the idea here is that going to the gym and performing the actual ritual of the actual exercises, you will, in time, experience results, right? Sitting in meditation, doing the actual practice, and only you can know if you actually did it. Only you can know if you're actually doing it. When your mind wanders and you bring it back to the mantra, that's 1 rep, just like at the gym. So it's not about silencing the mind in a way where you are only hearing the mantra and, I'm doing such a bad job because I keep hearing the dog scratching the window or the air conditioner turn on or someone cracking their knuckles next to me or whatever it is. It's that you are doing it. It's that when you are distracted, you do bring your awareness back. Through any form of meditation, becoming aware, know thyself, becoming aware of how you are responding to that meditation, where your mind goes, is a critical part of that meditation. And so there are different religious organizations, like Transcendental Meditation, that will teach particular proprietary religious tenets related to that technique. And that's not what we're doing here. We're talking about the universal use of these practices. What distracted you from your mantra? The duck? Nothing? You were on it? All right, Jen. Gold stars over to Jen. Bodily sensations, discomfort in the body. Mind, so thoughts were coming up. What kind of thoughts were coming up, if you don't mind? Worry. Worry about your 16-year-old son who's smoking pot. Okay. Valid worries. Were you able to bring your awareness back to the mantra? Okay.
I started to drink.
That's usually why we don't lay down.
Yeah. But I kept coming back. Kept going.
Rock and roll. So you were having like visuals and dream-like thoughts, states.
I don't do that very much.
And so when that does happen, when we're in that state, in a dream state, becoming aware, just like Jerry was saying in the ayahuasca ceremony, when you can actually see what it actually is there's something for you in it. Anything that comes up in a meditation is what your subconscious is offering you up right now. It's offering you it's putting it up on the altar. It's giving you the opportunity to deal with it. It's giving you the opportunity to alchemize it. If you're experiencing distraction in the environment, that's one thing. Bring your awareness back to the mantra. That's what we're cultivating, the ability to override distraction within the environment. When your mind is going to worry, acknowledging the content of that worry, acknowledging the feeling that it conjures up, and going back to the mantra. There is something about fear talked about today. When we are in a dream state, or in a meditation, or in a ceremony, and something is scary, there's something for you there. In movies, in all the movies, you have to defeat the demon before you get the girl or whatever. There's always the battle that has to be fought before there is peace. The idea here is when something challenging arises in our hearts and in our minds in the course of a meditation, breathe through it. Allow the thought to present itself as entirely as possible. And this is true about all forms of meditation. Meditation with an object gives you something to go back to. It gives you that reference point to go back to. We can do a mantra meditation with open eyes. And sometimes what you'll do is there's beautiful art. If you want to take a second look behind you, we have beautiful artwork, sacred artwork. A lot of times what you'll do in an open eye meditation, who's heard of the Sri Yantra? You have a Sri Yantra ring on today, I noticed earlier. Yeah. Who is familiar with mandalas? Okay, so Sri Yantra is a special sacred mandala. Mandalas, when gazing into the center of them, they're a common open eye meditation practice. They're a common meditation focal point. And so when you are doing an open eye meditation, it's just like using the mantra, where your eyes are resting on the center of that mandala, your eyes are resting on that candle, that symbol, that sigil, that crystal, whatever it is. That random dot on the ceiling that you're using, doesn't really matter what it is. Whenever your mind wanders off of that, notice that your mind wandered, that your eyes have wandered, and bring them back to the meditation object, back to the crystal, back to the candle, back to the mandala. Same in mantra. Open eye, closed eye. Get it? Point received? Okay. I said, when a thought comes up and interrupts the meditation, to allow the thought to occur and bring your awareness back to the mantra. Isn't bringing the awareness back to the mantra changing the thought? Yes, it is. It's developing mental fortitude, mental discipline. So by allowing the thought to happen, I mean, don't disrupt the meditation. Don't end the meditation. Don't move your body. Don't adjust your posture. Don't disrupt the meditation because a distracting thought came in. Allow the thought to occur. The thought has occurred. Bring your awareness back to the mantra. In the same way that Akela was running around and she was scratching on that door and this door. The idea is that we allow her to do what she needs to do. We allow the people around us to do what they need to do. We allow the thought to have happened. We allow it to be as it is and bring our awareness back to the mantra. Sometimes we don't know that we've been distracted by a thought. Sometimes we begin to go down this mental rabbit hole and we allow it to take us out of our meditation until we recognize that we have gone off the meditation, until we've left the mantra. The practice is noticing sooner. The sooner you become aware of, hello, we've been waiting for you, come join us. I think there's a seat over there in the back. So the idea is when we develop mindfulness, when we develop a practice of meditation, we start to become aware of the distracting thoughts earlier on in the process. We start to become aware of things coming toward us earlier on. So this is true about every form of meditation. We become aware of what is triggering us, what is throwing us off, what's distracting us. We become aware of our habits and our patterns earlier on in the process. Earlier today, you and I were talking about ritual and how sometimes when we engage in an unhealthy habit, it's out of ritual. That's sort of the nature of habits. A habit is when we are engaging ritualistically in something. So we have healthy habits and we have unhealthy habits. The idea is becoming aware as early on in the process as possible of what that distraction is, what that habit is, especially if it's an unhealthy habit. If it's a healthy habit and you know early on, oh, I'm engaging in a healthy habit, you can give yourself gold stars. You can be present with it. You can engage with it. You can soak it in and appreciate it. When you realize that you are at the beginning stages, at the beginning process of doing something that is unhealthy for you, you have an opportunity to intervene. You have an opportunity to stop, redirect, and do whatever it is that you need to actually do in that moment. Okay? So that's mantra meditation. The reinforcement of a positive affirmation, the idea is, the affirmation that one of you offered up earlier was, I am strong. When we are using an affirmation like I am strong, the idea is that, bless you, the use of the affirmation will invoke everything that is not like that inside of you. How many of you feel strong all the time? When we are using an affirmation like, I am strong, and we are present to the thoughts occurring in our mind, we will find that those thoughts that arise in our mind are oftentimes, got it, are oftentimes indications of where we are not strong. Is that making sense? I know everyone's distracted by the movement in the room. Okay. So when we're using an affirmation like I am strong, what is it invoking? It's not necessarily
Or reasons you're not strong.
memories, thoughts, experiences of when you were not strong, when you didn't feel strong, circumstances in which you don't feel powerful, where you feel weak mentally, where you feel weak physically. And so the use of an affirmation is very powerful as a mantra because it gives you the opportunity to focus with laser-like precision on a particular issue that you want to work on. If you're feeling like you are disconnected from your partner, if you're feeling like you aren't strong, if you're feeling like you can't keep up with things at work, if you're feeling like blank, there is a mantra, an affirmation that you can use that will help you reestablish that. As those thoughts that make you feel not strong come up, you have the opportunity to see them for what they are. And just as in the ayahuasca ceremony where there is a hidden message for you in everything that comes up, there's a hidden message for you in everything that comes up in meditation. And I definitely recommend cultivating a meditation practice because in the same way that you can dive deep in a week like this week where you have everything set up for success for you, you can do that in a little ritualistic practice for yourself every single day, where you can give yourself that moment of meditation, where you can check in. When you're depressed, when you have anxiety, a meditation will give you indications of where in your body you're feeling that depression, where in your body you're feeling that anxiety, and the thoughts and circumstances that are connected to that. So the unfoldment of the realizations from that point happen naturally. In the Buddhist tradition, one of my favorite traditions to explore, it says the light of your awareness is all that is required for transformation to occur. So that means the light of your awareness, that means becoming aware of that area where you feel weak, becoming aware of that circumstance where you don't feel good, where you feel triggered in whatever way, becoming aware of it is the first thing, is the first step in the transformation. In fact, it's all that's needed to occur. The 12-step program, the first step, what is it? What's the first step? Basically acknowledging the problem. And so acknowledging the problem is our first opportunity to look at it, right? To look at it for what it is, to learn about it, to see the different dynamics of that problem and begin to transform it. And so in meditation, when something arises, we have this practice of cultivating a detachment from that which arises within us, where we recognize, like Jerry was saying, that we're actually something in there observing that which occurs, like a movie. When we watch the thoughts that come up, and we can acknowledge and allow the light of our awareness to gradually seep deeper and deeper into the depths and shadows of our psyche, we can become aware of what we need to work on. We can become more aware of the things that are blocking us and preventing us from experiencing the things that we want and need to be experiencing in our lives. What was that? Yeah, we witness it. Witnessing it, observing it, acknowledging it, seeing it. That's why sometimes we like to say, hear the sounds, rather than listening to the sounds. Does that make sense? So the second kind of meditation that we're going to address is going to actually be the visualization practice, because it also is meditation with an object, just like mantra. And so meditation with the object of the visualization, there are a few different ways to do it, and different ancient traditions have different perspectives on this, but there's one thing they all have in common. And I'll say it in Christianese. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. What does that mean? In the Buddhist tradition, they say, for the benefit of all beings. In other traditions, they say, for the highest possible good. And so when we're utilizing visualization, I know there's this whole movement of using visualization to achieve goals and to manifest things. The word manifestation has totally permeated into the collective consciousness. The idea of using a tool like visualization to wrap our minds around something we want to experience or achieve or have in our lives without the highest possible good, without tuning into the kingdom of God, without the benefit of all beings, is considered black magic. In almost every tradition, without tethering our goals and our intentions to the highest possible good of absolute harmlessness, the highest possible benefit for all beings, it's considered black magic. Why is that? Selfish. And selfishness, it's not that you're not important, because you totally are. You're super important, and your life matters. And the way you feel and how you live and the things you experience matter. They're important. They are totally important. It's not that it's just about you. It's not just selfishness as we think about it. It's that selfishness itself is based on the premise that we are separate. That we are living separate experiences that are not connected, that don't impact each other. We've all heard the Buddhist phrase, we are one, right? Have you heard that? Have you heard that? What that really indicates is a deep esoteric secret. There's a clue here in that. A very important clue in recognizing our relationship to one another. The idea of unity, the idea that you are a part of something that I am a part of. Not in just a way where we're the same species, where we look at it where, okay, a species consists of different animals within that genetic makeup and material and body expression. It's so much deeper than that. And it's also so much bigger than that. We are one. In the beginning, what was there in the beginning? In all traditions, it's the same. What was there in the very beginning?
The Word.
Boom. The Word. And the Word was that which created the beginning. Even before the beginning, there was that which created all other things. God. God was there. There's this idea in all traditions that there is this magnificent, infinitely powerful force of consciousness that existed before all other things. And the first thing that was created, the first thing that existed even before light, was vibration, was word. It's like, I heard someone in a lecture recently refer to it as God shuddered. God shuddered. God had a shiver. God moved. The first movement ever. The first word created light. And actually, in all traditions, light is the first creation. Holy moly. Acknowledging the reality that these traditions had no contact with each other on this planet. The first creation was light. That's cool. That's important for us to tune into. When we tune into the light of our awareness, we're tuning into something so ancient, so primordial, so divine. When we go into any form of energy healing, like Reiki or Qigong or pranic healing, is anyone a Reiki practitioner in the room? I had a feeling. So what's sort of the visual that's traditionally paired with utilizing Reiki?
All I know is that God's love and energy comes through me and through my hands, and I don't know what's happening other than that.
Okay, so the visual that's typically traditionally paired with that is light. That's what I was going for. But yes, I liked what you said. It was beautiful. Thank you. The visual that's typically paired with it is light. It's illumination. The idea of illumination and enlightenment is the realization of our connection to each other. It's tuning our awareness to the ancient creation of light, to light, which was God's first child, God's very, very first creation, light. Let there be light. And in our meditation, when we are allowing our awareness to settle deep into our psyches, and even in ceremony, when we're allowing our awareness to dive deep within whatever tool we're using, whether we're using a mantra or we're using ayahuasca, diving deep within, let there be light. Let me know what there is to be known in here. Let me know myself better. Let me know what I'm working with. Every form of meditation has that component to it. And so in visualization meditation, you can do whatever you want. Free will, do whatever you want. But the idea is, for the highest possible good, for your highest possible good, because we are connected, what's good for the left hand is good for the right hand. When we're tuning in for ourselves, for the highest possible good, when we are seeking the kingdom of God and the righteousness therein, we are seeking not only our own selfish, ego-based, separate needs, but we're seeking our own needs being met to the highest possible fulfillment and the needs of all other life. So in this next visualization, we're going to do something that is a little bit of a different use of visualization than what we will typically do. Sometimes we'll close our eyes and we'll visualize that. You know, has everyone seen The Secret? We love Michael Beckwith. Namaste, Michael. In The Secret, there is this whole focus on winning the lottery and buying cars. Who's seen The Secret? So I'm not just talking about something that no. Okay. So The Secret was a documentary that really utilized the tool, it really promoted the use of the tool of visualization. And in visualization, they would say, tune into like what it feels like to have that thing that you want. And it was like a little bit materialistic. Very. There was it was missing the esoteric truth of the highest possible good. And so there was this whole generation of people saying, oh, the law of attraction isn't real, visualization's not real, all of that is hocus pocus mumbo jumbo, that's not even real, because I visualized myself winning the lottery like a whole bunch of times, and I never did, you know? When we become conscious of what it is that we're doing, we can do it better. Visualizing making a lot of money. Oh, I've got this money. Oh, I won the lottery. Money itself isn't anything. So the visualization wouldn't be of money. Money is a means to an end. So the visualization would actually need to be the idea of abundance, and whatever that means in the fulfillment of your particular needs, so long as it harm none. Oh, in the pagan traditions, Natalie, way back there in the back, what is the Wiccan Rede? Do you know the Wiccan Rede?
No.
Harm none, do what you will. We get to be creative. We get to do whatever we want in this life as long as it generates no harm. What was that? Oh, ahimsa, exactly. In the 8 limbs of yoga. The idea of tuning into the highest possible good, absolute harmlessness, collective awareness, unity consciousness is permeated into all traditions. Why? Because it's actually true. And so have you ever seen someone who was sad and felt sad because you saw them? The implications of unity, the implication of we are one, goes so much deeper than flighty thoughts, than new age phraseology. it goes into deep, deep, deep meaning where we recognize that what we are doing impacts other people. And the sadness of the world. I know so many people who are so successful and they're thriving and they've got like the hot wife and the great cars and the great house and they're like such beautiful people with like total health. They've got the total package, right? And they experience, there's a major epidemic of depression. There's a major epidemic of what the French call ennui, of this like complacency, of boredom. And it comes from a metaphysical perspective from the incredible suffering happening all over the world. If you in your life have found great success, have found great health, and you still are in the experience of suffering, then the spirit world has a message for you. There's some work that needs to be done. There's something that you can be doing. There's something that you can be contributing. And so in this next meditation, we are going to utilize visualization as a way to invoke our experience around something. Okay? So when we go into this meditation, I'm going to give you a noun to dream. When we go into this next meditation, I will ask you to bring something to mind. And it's going to be a specific thing. And when I ask you to bring it to mind, notice what comes to mind. And notice the feelings that come up along with it. Notice the thoughts that come up along with it. And notice any sensations in the body that come up along with it. I will guide you through this process. Go ahead and prepare for the next meditation. Get into your comfortable position. I invite you to close your eyes and bring your awareness into your own space. Disengaging from any tension held anywhere in the body. Finding your non-movement, finding your stillness. Even if you're not pristinely, perfectly comfortable, find your non-movement. Find that stillness. Breathing through any tension or any uncomfortable thoughts or feelings that come up, breathing through them. Noticing the different thoughts occurring in your mind right now. The different sounds and movement in all directions around you. Allowing everything to be as it is. In our mind's eye, we see ourselves as we are now. Seeing our body as it is. Noticing if any sensations or movement happens in the body, associating that movement with the thought occurring in the mind. Finding your non-movement. Seeing ourselves as we are at home. What moments come to mind? What habits come to mind? Breathing. In our mind's eye, we see ourselves as young children. Seeing ourselves in moments of laughter and happiness. Seeing ourselves in moments of frustration, confusion, sadness, and anger. Noticing all of the different thoughts that come to mind. We call to mind the faces of our loved ones, those who have cared for us deeply. Family and friends. Noticing all of the different thoughts that come up. Breathing through them. seeing the faces of our friends and family as young children. Disengaging from any tension that may have accumulated anywhere in the body. We bring to mind the faces of neighbors, acquaintances, public figures, and those with whom we have difficulty. We see these people as young children. In their innocence. Noticing any subtle movements that occur in the body, any thoughts or feelings that happen. Bringing our awareness to all the different sounds and movement we hear in this space. Any sensations in the body. And with a deep breath, slowly begin to move your hands and feet, bringing your awareness back into the room, rejoining the group. What kind of thoughts came up? Maybe memories? What kind of thoughts came up when we first saw ourselves as we are now, seeing our body as it is now? Did everyone have pristinely supportive thoughts about your body? Everyone felt really happy about everything they were seeing?
No.
Oh, okay. What came up? Maybe our insecurities, parts of our body we don't like, right? Is any of this resonating?
I kind of saw myself as if I was looking down.
Okay. So you noticed that you subconsciously chose a perspective looking down at your physical body, physically looking down toward it?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that unusual?
Nope. Super common, in fact. Was anyone able to notice, and this requires some actual discipline of the mind. So, was anyone able to notice their body move in conjunction with particular thoughts. When we get into meditation, we access a relaxed state so that we can notice what thoughts cause stirring in the body. Did anyone notice even subtle adjustments at particular parts of the meditation? In this type of practice, we start to become aware of uncomfortableness that we feel around certain individuals, certain thoughts like about our own body. That's a good one to start with because we are so mind-controlled culturally to hate ourselves and to hate our bodies and to want to change our bodies and to want to cut our bodies open and suck out lipo. No offense, Jerry, because he had that plastic surgery business. That's what that was about. Anyway, so, but the idea is that when we are in meditation and we invoke a thought and we call something to mind, we gain insight around that thought. Insight meditation is a particular kind of meditation, also called Vipassana. Vipassana means insight. And in that kind of meditation, which doesn't use an invocative object like we used in this visualization, it uses the moment as it is. So when we did the invocation, when we invoked the images in our minds, we were asking our subconscious, how do we feel about this thing? What's the deal with this? What are the thoughts that we have around this? What are some unresolved memories, or what are some pleasant, comfortable memories about this particular thing that we bring to mind? And so in a straight up Vipassana meditation, in a true mindfulness meditation, there is no object. We're not bringing something to mind. So while we were able to gain some insight on our relationship to our body, our relationship to our family members, our loved ones, our relationships to those with whom we have difficulty, did everyone bring to mind someone with whom they have difficulty? Was that easy to do? Did someone come to mind automatically? For most of you? Okay. And so when that came up, when that person with whom you have difficulty came to mind, what did you experience? What kind of thoughts came up?
Anxiety.
You felt anxiety. You felt compassion. You felt anger. So those are feelings that came up. Great. Anything else? Frustration. Did anyone experience thoughts that were occurring in the form of statements?
For instance, what is statement?
For instance, that bitch. Did anyone have memories that came up? Maybe a memory that caused that person to go from someone that you cared about to someone with whom you have difficulty, right? Maybe the challenging experiences that you had with that individual came up. It is so special and important that you were able to experience compassion in that moment. The idea here is that as we bring our awareness into all of the different qualities and dynamics of how we feel about those people, we begin to be able to heal them. When we are, someone who I care about recently told me, when we can see someone else's trauma and not get triggered, that's how we know we have actually healed that part of our trauma. What are some things that we've dealt with in our lives? What are some challenges that we've dealt with? If you're open. The death of a loved one. Okay, that's a perfect example. Let's go with that one, because you're the only one that said anything. So most of us have experienced the death of a loved one. And if not, congratulations, it's a really challenging experience. But also, most of us in the course of our lifetime will experience that a number of times. So when we are in the presence of another person who is experiencing grief, and we have unresolved grief, that's not going to be fun for us. It's not going to be easy. We're not going to be able to be there for them. We're not going to be able to hold space for them. When we have unresolved sadness and grief, around the loss of a loved one, and our friend loses a loved one, we don't have the fortitude and the wherewithal to be with them in the same way as if we have resolved our own grief. Does that make sense? Okay, and so these kinds of meditation are really special and important because it gives you insight into what triggers you. What is still triggering you is an indication of something that still needs to be released. Okay, so this last meditation that we're going to do is a straight-up mindfulness meditation. It's going to be relatively brief because we have some interesting stuff to talk about after that. And in this meditation, we're not going to be using any kind of object. This is meditation without an object. In this meditation, we're going to allow our subconscious to present something that you need to look at. In the same way that in ayahuasca, I loved Jerry's thing today. I was like, oh, he's got it. Can we just copy and paste this whole talk and say meditation every time he said medicine? When we are in meditation and a thought comes to mind, the reason we want to allow that thought to come up is because we want to see it for what it is. Right, B?
Yes.
We want to see it for what it is. We want to feel it for what it brings up within ourselves. And that's the important part about non-movement. That non-physical discipline that we begin to exercise by holding non-movement in the body. And the reason we say non-movement instead of stillness, oftentimes we will say stillness, but the reason we say non-movement instead of stillness is because you will be breathing and the heart will be beating. And so in this last meditation, we want to tune into a place where the only movement in the body is a result of the beating of the heart and a result of the movement of the breath. Okay? And so in this meditation, we're simply going to be aware of what comes up in our mind. Sometimes it's going to be very superficial. Sometimes it's going to be just what's occurring in our environment. And this is what's really interesting about the relationship between meditation and ceremony. The 4 kinds of ceremony that Jerry talked about today. The nada experience. What is it? It's the nada. This went in the wrong direction. Okay. The nada experience. I can't remember what word he said for experience. He didn't use the word experience. Okay. Experience is the word I'm trying to replace. Okay. So when nothing happens, when you in a meditation experience primarily thoughts related to what you are actually physically experiencing right now, that could be qualified as a nada meditation. And that's an important one. When you can access a deep state of equanimity, a deep state of relaxation within the body, what happens is the tension in your body that releases facilitates the condition for energy flow, right? Because that tension in the body is a traffic jam for energy and blood flow. So the release of that tension allows energy flow to move naturally throughout the body. And that energy in the body is divinely intelligent. So it will go exactly where it needs to go in the body. If you have a cut somewhere in the body, it's gonna draw energy to that cut. It's gonna draw energy to wherever it is that needs healing within the body. And so in a nada meditation, where you are aware primarily of the physical sensations in the body, primarily of the things occurring around you, what that is doing is rearranging something on a deep level. It's giving you deep healing in the psyche, deep recalibration and healing in the body. But you do have to tune into that state of stillness, that state of non-movement, the state of relaxed stillness. So it's not a rigid stillness like we sometimes see in really great yoga screensavers, like this, or whatever. It's a relaxed stillness. The posture, I know most of you are laying down, and that's totally cool and it's totally fine. But the posture is typically upright for wakefulness. We're most alert, we're most aware when we're upright. And the practice of body scanning through the body, noticing the different areas of the body that have tension, and accessing this wonderful gift of the exhale. And along the release of that exhale, releasing that tension in the different parts of your body opens up those energy channels, and you can experience deep levels of healing. In that state, there are other kinds of meditation that you can have. just like in ceremony. It's not just 4. There are a lot of other kinds. Sure, you can totally get those 4 kinds of experience in meditation, where you might have a consult, you might have visuals, colors, and sacred geometry, and kaleidoscopic vision. But it's not compartmentalized or separate. Just like in ceremony, it's not compartmentalized or separate. Those are the qualities of the 4 primary kinds, but it's not categorically separate. They're related, they're dynamic, they flow, right? And so in meditation, we become aware of what's occurring inside your super freaking magical body, your super absolutely divinely created magical existence, becoming aware of the dynamics of what's going on inside of you. What happens is the memories, the sensations, the info that exists in your mind, all of that starts to settle in. And as it settles in, this experience and this experience connect. This idea and this idea connect. And in that connection, insight. An idea will come to mind. A realization will come to mind. Illumination around a particular topic will come to mind. New pathways will be formed in the brain. And when that happens, the temptation is to end the meditation and dive into that insight. The temptation is, when you've got a great idea, you're a documentarian. When the insight of a great documentary or a great angle on a documentary comes to mind, the temptation is going to be to go with it, to check it out and play around with it. If we're in a relationship and there's been an ongoing relationship challenge, and in meditation, some insight of how to communicate to your partner comes up, the temptation is to live out that conversation right here, right now. But the practice is to say, ooh, that was a good one, and come back to the moment. Release it. And this is particularly challenging when you don't have an object in the meditation, when you're not using a mantra. And the practice is return to the experience of the present moment. Mindfulness is the total awareness of everything that you're experiencing in the present moment. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the 6 senses of the Eastern traditions and what that 6th sense is, how we can utilize it, and all of the many thousands of other senses that every human is naturally born with. And in that, we will gain new layers and new dimension to what it means to be totally mindful and what it means to be totally present, and all of the powers that we can experience in that. In the 3rd book of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, it talks about all of the powers that you can get from meditation. And they are incredible, and they're real too. And so in this next meditation, what we're going to do is become aware of our bodies, aware of what we're experiencing. And the practice will be, when a thought comes to mind, no matter how juicy or special or profitable or whatever it might be, to acknowledge what comes up and release it. Because what has just happened is a connection's been made in your mind. It's there. It's not going anywhere. It's been made, and you can come back to it at another time. The danger of diving down the rabbit hole with that new insight that came up is that you lose all of the other ones that are there for you. And so in a really good meditation, it's not just one insight. In a really, really good one, when you're a disciplined meditator and you can tune into that observer state and you can drop in like that, it's insight after insight after insight.
So is this particular type, is it a time limit? Do you set a time limit? Let me know when you're done.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. So in all forms of meditation, there's not really traditionally a time limit. In transcendental meditation, they have a recommendation of 15 to 20 minutes twice a day, right? And that's really great because that is usually how long it takes to actually drop into a deep level of recalibration. In reality, if you're doing this as a part of a practice, a regular practice, incorporating it into your ritual, which we're going to talk more about on Thursday, and the benefits of that and how that can be transformational. The idea is that in those contexts, set a timer, set a timer on your phone or whatever to designate that. Do something so that you don't have to be thinking about the time in the course of the meditation. But when you're somewhere like this, and there are hours of free time on hand, it's nice to sit somewhere and give yourself a meditation and enjoy the meditation. Learn to enjoy the cultivation of your discipline in stillness. And in that context, you sort of just know when you're done. You know when you're done. In the same way that I guess it's a little different than if you can hear them talking about, it's time for your next cup of medicine. Go up and get it if you can hear them. In a meditation, if you're out by yourself, there's never a time when it should actually ever end. And so what we're cultivating is the ability to be mindful. Part of the superpower that you're developing is your ability to show up differently in other moments of your life. And so in the course of the meditation, of course there's a beginning and end to the formalized ritual of meditation, but the idea would be, as soon as you decide that you will meditate, it should change your behavior. As soon as you sit down on the cushion, as soon as you enter into the meditation room, the meditation's begun. When you get up and leave, the meditation hasn't ended. Take that awareness as much as you possibly can with you into the other parts of your life, into your interactions with other people, which we're going to really go into tomorrow. That's going to be special. And again on Thursday. So to answer your question, no time limit. You get to do whatever you want. I read a book, I wish I could credit the author right now, I can't remember the name of it, where all she could do in meditation was 3 minutes. That's all she could do. 3 minutes, 3 times a day. And so 3 times a day, she had an alarm and set a timer where she sat and meditated for 3 minutes. Gradually, she was able to increase it to 5, up to 15. And I don't think she ever went past 15. For me, in my personal practice, there's 40 minutes in the morning and 40 minutes in the evening. I will rarely go longer than that unless I have a particular... I recently had a loved one pass away, and in that experience, I meditated a lot longer than 40 minutes. And a lot came up, and a lot was released. And I breathed through it, and I experienced it, and it was really, really beautiful. And I enjoyed the 3.5 hours I probably spent one day and 2.5 hours the other day. And so depending on where you're at and what you're doing, what your experience is, that meditation is going to be different. It's really about knowing yourself, knowing what your recalibration is, and knowing that point when you're ready to move on to the next moment. I invite you to allow your eyes to close. Really allowing them to rest closed, not holding them shut. Disengaging from any tension you might be holding in the forehead. Allowing the nervous system to loosen its grip, to allow the muscles around the eyes, the cheeks, lips, and jaw to decompress and rest under their own weight. Allowing the exhale to send a wave of decompression through every part of the body. Not stimulating or moving or massaging the muscles in the body, but allowing them to naturally decompress under their own weight. mentally scanning in all directions around you, noticing everything that you notice. Noticing the different thoughts that come to mind. Experiencing this moment as it is. Feeling the lungs as they move. Feeling the pulse of the heartbeat throughout the body. Noticing any impulses in the body. Resisting the temptation to engage with them. Resting in your non-movement. Whenever you're ready, gently blink open your eyes. From a metaphysical perspective, the body is an apparatus for life force to experience the material world. The concept of prana, the life force as breath. Who here has heard of prana? So the life force as breath. When we don't breathe, what happens? We don't last that long. When we don't eat, we last a lot longer than if we don't breathe, right? The idea is that with that life force, we activate and animate the body. That life force energy is brought in and it is absorbed through the lungs and it activates this complex apparatus, this factory of your body and all the different parts of your body. So what does that imply about the air that we're breathing? That there's something to it, right? That there's something special about it. And the air is, in the context of prana, from an Eastern perspective, is what we actually are. Our breath and the life force contained in the air is actually what our consciousness is born from. And so when we look to the space between us, it seems like we're like a few feet away, right? It seems like you're like over there somewhere. What's filling the space between us? Life. Life force. Air. Us. The space between us is not, Bee's heard me say this 25 times. The space between us is not what separates us, it's what holds us together. From a Buddhist perspective, the idea of unity consciousness goes so far beyond, oh, be nice to other people because they have feelings too. It's esoteric, it's metaphysical, it's something that it is believed that we will be able to communicate scientifically one day. Universal enlightenment. Enlightenment is the total dissolution of illusion, right? It's the complete awareness of that which is true. And if we're all one, can one of us be enlightened? No. If one of us is enlightened, and they're truly enlightened, we all are. True enlightenment is a group project. And this is actually also the true esoteric implications of reincarnation. The esoteric teachings of reincarnation never believed that your ego self entered multiple bodies. Nope, that's new. That showed up not that long ago. That's a new idea. The idea that I was King Tut in a past life and you were Cleopatra and you were a healer and you were a warrior. Those are really beautiful archetypal imagery ideas, and those actually have a place. Experiencing the reincarnation of a warrior means something that you're going through right now. It means something that you can learn from right now. The true esoteric interpretation of reincarnation is that I am you in a future life. It's that you are me in a future life. We are each other in parallel lives. We are one. We're in this together as each other, experiencing one another. And so in that vision, where we sometimes have ideas and visions of experiencing past lives, and sometimes they're visceral and important and special and meaningful for us, right? Some of us have had that. Some of us have had past life readings where we're told these really beautiful things. Sometimes that's not legit. But sometimes it actually is. But it doesn't mean that your spirit left one body and then entered into another body, and that we have these ego separation experiences throughout eternity. What it means from a Buddhist perspective, from a metaphysical perspective, is that we sometimes, when we are going through a challenge, that the unseen worlds of thought can give you an archetypal past life experience so that you can have tools to use in this life. If you're receiving a past life reading and someone's telling you that you were a queen in a past life, there's a chance that they are kind of kissing your ass and like stroking your ego. If you're in an experience and it doesn't feel that way and they seem really sincere and you are totally sure that it's not that, I invite you to look at it from the perspective of the archetype, the perspective of how would a queen operate in this circumstance? How would a queen navigate this? Channel that queen within you. We're connected. Anyone that ever has been and anyone that ever will be is inside of you, is inside of me. We're here together, we're connected. We are one, unity consciousness is the jam. The idea here is transforming our perception from duality consciousness of separation into unity consciousness. And this is such a powerful message that is found in ayahuasca as well. In the plant medicine, almost every time I talk to someone about their visionary experiences in plant medicine, I hear about telepathy. I hear about shared thought, shared visions. It blurs the boundaries between us. It reminds us of our unity. It's a natural gift reminding us of our connection to one another and to nature. And so I invite you this week to explore that, explore your relationship to one another, explore your relationship to nature, to earth, to the cosmos, to God. And I am so grateful that you all came here, that you all sat with me, and that we all shared space, sacred space and meditation. And I'm looking forward to spending the week with you. Thank you all.